And then, like, if you were going to write a check, you would write a check. You would say, I want to load my card, and you'd write a check to load your card. Or if you were going to use your debit card, you would say, I want to load my Kroger card and use your debit card to pay. But then you just shop at Kroger's just like you regularly would for gas, groceries, whatever. And then if you use that reusable card, it is connected to the basket ministry, and Kroger will give 4% back to the basket ministry. And that has been huge for us. We're just getting it going about the last 6 months, and we don't have that many people on it, but we've already gotten almost, I think 600 or almost 700, I'm not sure, from Kroger, which is awesome because I already shop at Kroger. So just using this little card, that, 4% of my money that I'm already spending is coming back to the church, and I love it. So I have those cards, and, my cell number would be a good way to get that 606-215-6285 to get a copy of the Kroger card. I have 20 cards right now that I just ordered, and I can get more, in no time. But if you do shop at Kroger's, that's an awesome way to give without giving. So.
Exactly, and you can get all your items there, the food and just different things that people need right now. And, there is a great need in our communities, and here in Corbin and London, and you can take a look around and you can see that people's in need. And how can we just stand back and say, I can't do anything to help them? We can all do something to help somebody.
Yeah, and it's more than just, looking at people and thinking, well, you made your bed, now you've got to lay in it, but it's sharing Jesus and giving them a hope.
Amen.
And, maybe you've made wrong choices, but we have the answer.
Right.
We know who our hope is, and we want to share that. And I think that's all a part of Christ and his mission for us.
That's the attitude of love. Exactly right. You see, love will put legs on prayers and do things and go out to the community and look at people that's in trouble and say, what can I do to make a difference in somebody's life? That is the perfect example of love and compassion, because that's what Jesus did. He went about doing good, healing people, feeding people. He did it all, and he expects us to do the same thing.
That's right. I wanted to just share one story that happened about this time. It was either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and it's been probably 7-8 years ago. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been, but there was a family that had come to the basket ministry since we opened, and they would faithfully be there. And for several years this went on, and I knew them because I worked in the local pharmacy too. And this one time that the basket ministry was open, they didn't come, and I was like, well, man, that is really unusual for them not to be there. So like a week or two later, I saw the woman at the pharmacy, and I said, you weren't at the basket ministry, I missed you. And she began to share how ill that he was, and that he had actually been in a coma in Jellicoe Hospital. And something just stirred in my heart. I've never really experienced anything like that. And I called our pastor, and I said, I've been so worried about this man, and I was explaining to him what was going on. And she had explained to me that he was home now, but, that it was really bad, and asked us to pray. Right. And so I asked her, I said, can we bring you the basket from the basket ministry to your house since you missed? And she's like, oh, that would be so great. So we planned this. I called the pastor, and I was like, I just really feel burdened for this man, and I just can't, let it go. And so he and I had to work our schedules, and it took us about a week to try to get the time to, go find where these people live.
Right.
And so finally, the last day, I felt like I just was weighted down, like I felt a pressure at work. And I called the pastor, and I said, we have to go today. I was like, I just cannot get this off of me. And so we did that night. We went and found their house, and the man was sitting there, and he was just on oxygen and just really pitiful, And so I went in, and we talked, and the pastor talked to him, and he talked to him about healing and explained how he had been healed, and asked him if, he'd ever been to church or knew anything about Christ. And he said no, he really hadn't. And this man had, a lot of tattoos and things like that, just looked kind of like he'd lived a rough life. And as the pastor began to talk, he began to share Jesus with him.
Oh.
And right there in his living room, the pastor said, would you like to be saved? And tears just began to fall from that man's face. And it was beautiful. I mean, but we got out in the car after it was all over. He accepted Christ right there in his living room, and it was just powerful. But the pastor and I got out in the car, and I think it blessed us so much more. But then, do you know that man passed away 6 days after we were there? And I just felt like that was such a God thing, such a merciful God that we serve, that 2 weeks prior he's in a coma in Jellicoe, but God spared him and loved him. And I think that's how good God is, that we fall short so much, but he is faithful and true every day. So
what a testimony.
Yes, God has been good.
See, that's what it's all about, is changing lives. And you never know, the person you might help might not be here the next year. They might not be here next month or next week. So do your part now. Help somebody now.